Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
I'm a 21-year-old woman, and right now I'm pursuing computer science in college. I still have a year left, and our system of paying the tuition is yearly, around the month of October, and fees are accepted after the given period of time, and when later it is to be collected, no fee waiver is put into account. If it gets ignored, and in my case, my whole point of working hard for a fee waiver will go to waste. It sounds absurd, but so does the whole college and education system. Please keep in mind how important this whole thing is to me. I'm very focused on my career up to such an extent that I sacrifice my whole social circle for this degree. Y'all can all judge me by calling me a nerd, but I do not care, and I'm proud of my nerdiness. Now, as you see from the title, this incident, which is happening in life due to the selfishness and entitlement of both my parents and brother, is not a one-time thing, but a problem that I have been facing all my life since day one, the day I was born. Basically, my father runs my grandparents' business. He owns a textile export and import business, and my grandfather spent his entire life building it up, and he was also rewarded financially by a lot. My grandparents have only one son, that is, my father, so it's natural for him to inherit the whole business. My mom, also a single child, belongs to a well-to-do family, but not like my grandfather's, so she always had this feeling of things never being sufficient for her, and she had a mental comparison with my grandmother on everything. My father doesn't own the business yet because of my grandmother's and mother's bad relationship. They just don't trust this ignorant woman. So naturally, both of them being single children, wanted a single child too. That is, as they say, my brother, who is my twin and is the same age as me. I was unplanned and was going to be given up for adoption, but my grandma promised to take care of me. So my grandparents have taken care of me since I was 2 years old. We're the closest with each other, and they both are the only ones from whom I have felt the warmth of family. So basically, I am the unwanted child because, according to my mom, the second child brings trouble and doesn't let the first one grow up to their potential. And of course, a guy as heir sounds better than a girl. Today, me and my brother turned 21. My brother and I never shared any good relationship either. He never stood up for me, nor did he ever confront any of our parents. In fact, he also had his fair share of fun by bullying me and just making my life difficult in general. Even if we're the same age, the only difference is I'm actually working towards something that will make my worth, and he is a high school dropout and takes up the job of rich playboy dating middle school girls. Still, he is preferred all the time over me. I would be lying if I didn't expect my parents to be proud of me and notice me a bit, but at this point, I've accepted that that ain't happening. It's even hard to dream about such a thing. Back to today's birthday scenario. For me, it's an all-normal day, working on projects and internships, and I had an extra chore of paying my fees as I kept on being busy, and today happens to be my last day. And for my brother, it's his day of celebrating his sorry existence with strippers and alcohol on our private farmhouse, along with my parents, of course. Of all days, today is the day I chose to be careless and forgot some really important papers that I needed. So I kept calling everyone's phone just to get me those papers because I had only an hour before the account section closes in my college. I dialed everyone. I did everything, including calling every landline of our farmhouse, but no response. The disappointment and hurt mixed with anger I felt was stronger than when Beyonce found out about her husband's affair. As a last resort, I dialed my grandparents because they are the only ones who could be trusted by me. After learning about it, he immediately sent someone to collect the papers, and by the blessing of the universe, none of my efforts went in vain. All that anger I had inside me suddenly turned into pain after meeting with grandparents back at their house. I had the worst mental breakdown of my life right there. I could sense their heart breaking into pieces, and then that pain turning into anger after I was done ranting about the mistreatment and the party being thrown when my life was about to be ruined. Grandpa didn't know about the party during the day, and he also learnt about my brother dropping out. Everything and every one of us went silent for 5 minutes, the longest 5 minutes of my life. After a dramatic pause, my grandpa pulled out a paper and tore it into shreds. Called the lawyer, and I don't know if it was impulsive. He decides to remove my brother from his fortune inheritance and gives his share to my kids. And if I don't have any, it will go to the charity. I kind of feel guilty for stealing my brother's fortune from him, but the villain part of me is enjoying every bit of it. So there's a party being thrown in the evening where he was supposed to give his will as a present to both of us. And I know all of them are going to freak out, and probably the last time I ever see my mother smiling. I may sound evil, but she kind of deserves to get robbed of that evil smirk she throws each time when someone mentions her son. Part of me is guilty, and part of me feels avenged and happy, more importantly, weirdly in peace. I will keep every one of you updated on what happens after the party is done. All I can assure for now is that it's going to be a roller coaster of everything with me getting the last laugh. So it actually turned out better than I imagined it to be. Look, the main point here isn't the money, but the way I've been treated just because I was born as an extra child. So we all got ready and dressed up. I made myself look pretty because it was my birthday after all. I needed to have my share of fun too. So my brother was really drunk the whole time during the party, which just added extra fuel to the whole fire. We cut cakes and had fun. Grandpa introduced me to a lot of people and made sure to tell them how proud of me he is and how much I am more than an extra child and how amazing my achievements are. I may sound haughty about them, but it's okay. I know where to draw the line. So when at the end, only we had close relatives around us, Grandpa starts giving a speech about his whole legacy and family life, which is really impressive, and then talks nice things about everyone in our family. Then the daggers turn towards my parents and brother. I shouldn't be having this much fun, but it was actually funny. He said he was really proud of having a toxic daughter-in-law and a no identity of his own son, and how they came together and formed their exactly how they wanted son, who has overachieved the art of being an alcoholic, good-for-nothing dropout. Satisfying my soul, I loved how my mother's head was down in shame as she walked the walk of shame with Hitler himself. So overly, everything was fun, and the announcement of me getting the whole fortune triggered both of my parents, and that turned into a whole argument. But they were simply passed out an envelope of money, enough for sending their perfect child to a rehab center. That's all for today. I'll keep everyone updated. Oh my God, it's been a really long while since my birthday. I'm now 21 and 8 months old. And every day is a new beginning, and I'm really grateful for the support I get from the Reddit community. All the wishes and comments and suggestions, and especially the trolls towards my parents and brother, are really amazing to read. And sorry for not updating sooner. I live a busy life and managed to find a good team to start a startup of my own. Anyways, back to the update. My grandparents have recently turned the party farmhouse into a vegetable and orange field, where they spend a lot of time being in love with each other, and they invite me now and then to have some snackies and tea with them. It's peaceful now. My parents tried to lick me into their grip to get me to sign everything to my brother, but as I'm better than that, with my grandparents' approval, I have cut contacts with them, and as soon as my father will be retiring, my cousin will be taking over his place with another person who seems eligible and promising enough to keep running Grandpa's legacy. Everything's going well, and I have also started socializing a bit and have made healthy friendships who help me through hard times and celebrate good times with me. And as for my brother, he's out of rehab and trying to mend relations with me, which I won't let happen anytime soon. And to add another disappointment to his own list, he has gotten his 17-year-old girlfriend pregnant. She isn't any saint, but my heart goes out to her. She really is the victim here, and I can never deny it, but that is no matter for me to be concerned about because I don't want to be involved in it and go back to the stupid mess they all will keep on making throughout their lives. Anyways, this will be the last update, and hence remarking the end of this chapter of my life. See you all soon, and I hope you stay well and healthy. Basically, all's well that ends well, right? I am glad that your grandparents took a stand for you and helped you out. Make sure you take good care of them really well. Your brother gives good-for-nothing villain vibes, LOL. Anyways, I'm happy everything went good for you, and don't listen to your parents. They are plain toxic, and it's completely okay to be proud of your goals.
Next story.
I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I've been dating my boyfriend, 29, for a little over 2.5 years. When we began to get serious, I told him I didn't want to have kids and wasn't interested in that as it wouldn't be fair to string him along when things began to get serious. He wanted kids, but we talked it over and he decided he could live without kids. Things were fine until we were visiting my family a few days ago for my dad's birthday. He saw some old pictures of me when I was 20 and clearly heavily pregnant. He was upset and asked me what this was and thought that I'd had a child and gave them up. I explained to him that my older sister and her husband had been struggling with fertility and that she'd had several miscarriages, so I offered to carry their child for them, and my 7-year-old niece was the result of this. I, in no way, feel maternal towards her. She is their biological child, and I've never felt I was anything but the handy oven for that bun. I never brought it up because as I didn't think it mattered, and it was so long ago that it wasn't really anyone else's business. He, however, feels differently, and when we left, he told me I should have told him and said how it wasn't fair I'd be willing to give my sister a child, but wouldn't even consider having one with him. I got upset, as there is a big difference between carrying a child and raising a child, and I told him as much. I told him I was sorry for not telling him, but I honestly hadn't felt it was his business, as it had been years before we got together. I then reminded him how he had been the one to say that he could live without children, as I'd warned him long ago. He's still upset with me. I honestly didn't think I did anything wrong here. AITA. Since people keep asking, I'm including this information in the post. Yes, it's preferred that you be over 21 and have had at least one child to be a surrogate. However, in our country, doctors will judge on a case-by-case situation and will sometimes allow it so long as the surrogate is over 18, even if they have never had a child before. We were one of those cases, though. They tried to discourage it. My sister didn't want to use a stranger. However, as she was scared, in our country the person who carries a child has all the rights, and if they decided to keep the child, my sister and her husband could do nothing about it. I was someone she trusted. I'm going to say ESH here, and downvote me all you want. Here's why. You and boyfriend discussed children, and you had to assume that he would see those pictures if he stuck around long. Your pregnancy should have been mentioned. He reacted on a big scale, and that is understandable, but he is basically saying, you had a baby for them, you should be willing to have one for me too, which is not cute. You both made the not AH but wishful mistake of thinking that he could just be okay without kids when you both know that he wants them. He's not okay with it, and if you don't have kids, he will resent you. If you choose to have kids for him, you will resent him and possibly also the kids. Please think this through carefully. NTA, were you a gestational surrogate? And if so, does he understand that your niece is not your biological child? That possible confusion is the only explanation I can think of for why he would react as such, unless he legitimately thought the only reason you didn't want kids was because you didn't want to deal with pregnancy. As someone who doesn't want kids myself, the idea of still technically making and carrying one for someone else would be more problematic for me than the idea of being a gestational surrogate, because of the reasons I don't want children. So if you're a traditional surrogate, I can slightly see how he might be confused, frustrated by that confusion, but you're still not an AH. You were upfront and honest about your future plans with him from the start. It's not your job to make sure that he knows every detail of your past.
Next story.
I have been dating my girlfriend for 8 months. Things have been going so well that when she started a project based in my part of the city, she decided to stay at my place temporarily rather than do the daily commute. I noticed that when she showers, she has the water so hot that steam billows from the bathroom when she opens the door. It leaves everything in the bathroom wet. I have been telling her to use the dehumidifier in the bathroom as she showers. She told me that she showers with the window open and it turns on afterwards because the air was too humid for the dehumidifier. I put my foot down and told her that it wasn't optional, and she ended up breaking the dehumidifier with the steam. I told her that enough was enough and that if there's no dehumidifier, then she would have to shower at a normal temperature like everyone else does. When she comes out of the bathroom, her skin is red. What she did instead was she started locking herself in the bathroom while the steam dissipated so I wouldn't catch her turning my bathroom into a sauna. Well, last week I had enough of it. I took the lock off the bathroom door. The toilet is in a separate room, so there is still complete privacy when using the toilet, BTW. Now, she can't steam out my entire bathroom without me knowing. I knock before entering and make sure it's not that steamy in the bathroom and that the temperature of the water is normal. She hasn't said anything about it, but since I did that, her mood has been low with me. She started spending weekends at her place, and she's slowly been taking her stuff with her. I told her that I didn't do it to be nasty, but the hot showers were damaging my bathroom and probably her health too. She just says, okay, and it's fine. I'm a controlling a-hole, forced my girlfriend to break my dehumidifier after she warned me it would break it, and then blamed her for the damage anyway, took the locks off the door, and I'm treating her like a toddler that can't make her own decisions. Now I'm surprised because she's slowly moving out and doesn't want to put up with my controlling behavior anymore. AITA? In case you couldn't gather it by this point, yeah, YTA. YTA, this is extremely controlling and weird. Be honest and admit that this has nothing to do with her health or putting herself in danger and everything to do with you wanting to control her behavior. Seriously? Who takes a lock off the shower room door? Get a new dehumidifier if you're so worried about the bathroom. Also, it's scientifically proven that women prefer hotter showers than men, because women have more constricted blood vessels that position blood closer to the surface of the skin.